Hello. I just forgot. Wow, there's a cat having a psychotic attack behind me. I do not know why. Okay, what a way to open up, huh? Oh my gosh. What a way to open the show. Is it a fly? I don't even know. This was totally unintended. This is ridiculous. Okay, not what I was going to say, nothing what I was going to say. All right. Now, you might be here because I wrote new round of conflict or business as usual. And as you can see right here, there is a new round of conflict occurring even as we speak. I'm sorry, I'm baffled. But I wanted to get on do a quick live. It's Friday evening. I'm going to be going out soon, meeting some friends, and I haven't done a live in days. I've had like this mental vacation from the news or talking about the news anyway. But I thought, no, I've got to, because who knows what's going to happen. And also, this is my last opportunity to let you know, if you are in Jerusalem tomorrow, Saturday, May 2nd, 2026, I invite you to come to the Old City. We are hosting a wine tasting, Christian wineries, featuring the Christian wineries. Now, Christians make up 1% of the Palestinian population and 2% of the Israeli population, extremely small minority. And yet there are at least 10 wineries around this land that I counted, and there might be more. So tomorrow's wine tasting at Enoteca in the Old City. And by the way, I didn't come on here to do an ad, but you have to come. If you're around, you're going to love it. We're going to explore 4 different wineries owned by Christians, whether monks or Christian families around the Holy Land, and you are going to love it. We'll do some whites, some reds, and rosé, and anyway. If you are on either YouTube, if you're on YouTube, leave me a comment and I will respond if you need more details. And if you are watching this on Facebook, DM me and I will get you the details. But anyway, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. All right. So we are in this nebulous area of, we think, the war has tricked us into being over. I think the region has gone back to a sort of business as usual. There was actually a full week of school, like a full week, like 5 days in a row, kids went to school. I know, be still my beating heart. It was a miracle. But what is interesting is that the media reports, which are sometimes indicative of the hints that are being leaked to the public from the government in both Israel and a little bit in the US, the reports, there's a slight uptick in the possibility of war. So that are kind of like preparing the public for the possibility that war will resume again. So be on the lookout, be on the alert for the possibility that something might happen soon. Now, I'm not necessarily putting stock in leaks and in things like that. However, so forget that. Now, this is interesting, and I do not know the story yet, but we just got a report that the U.S., I think, not Central Command, but they have a special command center here that was involved in Gaza, and they were going to, from there, they were going to like dispatch international peacekeeping troops and things like that into Gaza. The U.S. is apparently closing that facility. Now, it's barely operated. It's only been, oh, here it is. So okay, so Israeli officials, though, so there were news reports that the U.S. was closing it. Israeli officials are saying we have not received concrete reports that is happening. What's happening, Ryan? What? your phone was just talking. I can't imagine. Okay, so that is that. Now, if so what's happening anyway, in any case, that's bizarre. Raya's phone is just randomly talking. That's Armenian, right? Could you open your phone and see what program is still running in the background?
Live. It's live.
Who's live?
I don't know.
Oh, nice. Okay. Raya's
If
on
you put your phone on, if you like,
Raya's on another live, not her mom's. I can't believe it. Shocking. Okay. Now, it's just quick, brief news that's going on. The ceasefire in Lebanon, which would be not even involving Lebanon, but Israel and Hezbollah. Ceasefire, non-ceasefire is still continuing as is, status quo, which is that there are attacks every day from both sides, on both sides. Hezbollah has employed a new tactic to use this fiber optic drone, and it's cheap and crude. However, it's undetectable by high powered technology. So despite the fact that it's low tech, it actually is more dangerous. Maybe not more dangerous, but the danger is that because it's undetectable, it might actually, it has killed so far 3 Israelis, 2 soldiers and 1 contractor, defense contractor, and wounded several. So in that sense, deadly. Now, because Israel has this air defense system, the Iron Dome, it usually detects missiles and drones, and then people can go take cover. But in this case, they can't, because you only hear it and see it when it's in your range. Now, some disadvantages is that it only has a range of about 15 kilometers, which is something like 10 miles. And it is also on a fiber optic cable, so it can get tangled in trees and stuff like that. So it's not perfect, but it has proved to be deadly dangerous. And so the Israeli military is trying to deal with that. Also, in the meantime, the military is totally entrenched in many villages in southern Lebanon. They're razing the villages, some of them, and it looks like a lot like Gaza in many places. So that's going on. And then there's also the possibility of talks still between Israel and Lebanon. And that might happen like in the next couple of weeks. They're trying to get the president of Lebanon and the prime minister of Israel together in Washington. For many reasons, that's complicated, especially if a deal doesn't pan out. To have had these leaders met in public, and then if a deal doesn't end up happening, it sort of, especially for Lebanon, makes them look, look bad. In a way, for the opponents of making any kind of peace or normalization deal with Israel. So that is going on behind the scenes. Now, I also want to tell you briefly about some other. I've got to find the video. Other attacks here in the on the ground here. I'm going to find a video to show you. Okay, let me see if I can get this for you guys to show you. Now, I have spoken in the past about attacks on Christians, and there was yet another one. And there was, I think it was Tuesday, a man in the Old City, a Jewish man, walks up, you'll see it, behind a nun, very clearly Christian, religious, right? Behind her, and from behind her shoves her, and she is injured. And then I'm just going to show you the video, and then we'll talk about it, because this, by the way, I heard the condemnations of this before I even heard the news. So this was a pretty serious incident. Let me get this. Hold on. All right, and now actually going to pause it. Why? Because I just realized who it is. I don't want to show their video. Hold on, I'm going to get you another video, okay? Their policies of using their information. All right, so let me see if I can find another one. All right, I'm using this one. Thank you, Ehab. I really like Ehab. Good person to follow. By the way, John and Carol, hi. I just I'm looking at my chats. Thank you. And by the way, guys, feel free join in. Where you're from, what your questions, comments. Here we go. Let's watch this again. Look at that. I mean, come on. And why is his face blurred out? Can you tell me why his face is blurred out? Now look at the guy walking by. Now Jackass is returning. Look. Oh, yeah. Wow. Brilliant. Unbelievable. I wish the video continued. There are other videos out there, but look at this horrific violence against this woman who is a nun and who is Christian. Now, I am not sure. I'm not sure if I am more mortified by the one who did this or the one who walked by and did nothing. I'm actually not sure what's worse. So, and then he goes back and kicks her, and this guy's standing there. And then luckily, an actual good Samaritan comes and stops and stops him. So now I'm gonna pause this for a second. Now, like I said, I read the condemnations before I read the news. So it was a very backwards thing that happened. And here is, now I'm going to go to the Israel police. So where did this happen? Carol is asking. Thank you. Right outside Zion Gate. This happened right in the old city of Jerusalem, but right outside the walls. And actually, my mother-in-law heard let me pause this and rewind it. My mother-in-law heard the ambulance, heard the commotion, and said, "Oh, I wonder what's happening," and had no idea that this was actually the case. So here is somebody shoved a nun to the ground in the old city. No, she did not die. She was injured, and she has a very bad bruise on her head, and who knows what else. Anyway, bring your keys. Okay. All right. So let's play this video. Now, this is the first video that I saw. He's saying, oh, you see the subtitles. Hands.
ידיים, תביא את הידיים שלך. ידיים, תודה רבה, תעצור בחשד לתקיפה הגורמת חבלה.
And he gets arrested, and we see the injury of the nun.
ידיים,
This is the first.
תביא את הידיים שלך. ידיים, תודה רבה, תעצור בחשד לתקיפה הגורמת חבלה.
All right, now let's just close this, pause it. I'm going to pause it, or at least turn the volume down, and we're going to read. This is the police statement, the Israel police statement. Following a report of an assault against a nun in Jerusalem, officers responded immediately, launching an investigation that led to the arrest of a suspect. A request to extend his detention is expected. The Israel police treats any attack on members of the clergy and religious communities with the utmost seriousness and applies a policy of zero tolerance toward acts of violence. In a city sacred to Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike, we remain committed to protecting all communities and ensuring those responsible for violence are held accountable. Now, I'm going to go to the Israel Police Twitter feed, and I think this is the last one. There was nothing before, nothing after. Now, imagine that this is the first news that you hear about it. Just simply that this happened, and or that there was a suspect arrested. No name of the suspect, no charges, no. I mean, I want to know who this is. I also want to know, the nun, like, what's her condition right now. So I spoke with people in the old city, and nuns are now saying they are scared to go out. One of them said she tucks her cross inside her habit. And now, either way, she's still a nun. She still has the head covering of a nun. But and so she could be just identified by her clothing, but she's scared to walk around with the cross. And as you saw, she was attacked from behind. Now, I don't know if this man walked by her and then decided, no, I'm going to go back and get her. But he made an effort and went out of his way to go after her. And this is an egregious attack. And what upsets me as a journalist was finding out the news only through the condemnations, which I heard before I heard the news itself, from both the police, and then apparently the foreign ministry has also condemned the attack, as well they should, and I'm sure they don't condone it. But it was so hard to get the news out of this. I spoke with another reporter who, this is her specialty, especially like the Catholic Church. Like, this is her beat. This is what she covers. And we were scrambling to find the information. And until this video came out, it wasn't clear what happened. It's only through the video can I surmise what happened. So I'm very disappointed in the lack of information surrounding this. Like, for instance, I don't want to learn just through a condemnation. I want there to be a condemnation. There should be an arrest, but the news should be what happened. What are the series of events? Where was she attacked? Like, all of the information that I'm giving you right now is really from the video. And it's been a couple days of trying to get the details. Meanwhile, the video is going viral. So again, a nun attacked right outside of Zion Gate in the old city of Jerusalem, near the Dormition Abbey, in a place where there are churches and there are also Jewish sites like the Tomb of David. So you've got the Dormition Abbey, the Tomb of David, and there are a cluster of Christians here, a cluster of Jews here. And so they're passing by all the time. Now, this type of violence isn't overwhelming, but it's happening on a daily basis. But what it's done is strike fear into the Christian community that they should not walk around with religious symbols or clothing, things that identify them as Christians, because they too may be attacked. Now, a lot of these attacks happen to priests, men, and there's no condoning violence or spitting. A lot of the attacks are spitting. There's no condoning any of that. However, there is a boundary when it comes to attacking a woman, and an elderly woman at that. So I don't really know how old she is. I'm not sure she's elderly, but she's not young. She's not 20. So Carol asked, what did the recently appointed ambassador to Christians have to say about that? Well, considering he works for the foreign ministry, maybe he was the one who put out the statement, but which I didn't read. And actually, I didn't see that he had a statement, but let me see. Okay. So he wrote, we'll go to his Twitter page, and then I have to go about this. Go about this. Wow. Okay. So he said, the suspect was apprehended immediately after the attack and remains in custody. Legal proceedings against him are now underway, reflecting Israel's clear commitment to enforcing the law and ensuring accountability. In line with our commitment to transparency, the Israeli police have released the video footage of the incident. Shortly after the attack, I spoke with His Beatitude, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, to convey our unequivocal condemnation and solidarity. I was also relieved to learn that the nun has returned home and is in good condition. Israel deeply cherishes freedom of religion and remains steadfast in its commitment to protecting members of all faiths and ensuring their safety and dignity. Okay. Let me see if he has. Okay. And then previously on April 29th, he released this. Well, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, he reposted the condemnation against a nun yesterday in Jerusalem. And we strongly condemn this despicable attack. Violence against innocent individuals and especially against members of religious communities has no place in our society. This shameful act stands in direct contradiction to the values of respect, coexistence, and religious freedom upon which Israel is founded and to which it remains deeply committed. Okay, all of this is true, and the government must take this stand. They must take this stand. However, where is the root of this problem? That is what needs to be dealt with. And if the government is not going to proactively deal with that, whether the problem is education, why, yes, there's history, obviously, of Christians persecuting Jews and Jews specifically that grow up in Israel as opposed to in other countries. They don't really have an understanding of that Christians are not their enemies today as they were in the past. Okay, but still, why is there still violence? What is going wrong in the education of certain Jews that do carry out these kinds of assaults? What's there? Now, that's not the only problem these days. I've got a lot more that I could say. Like, for instance, also there were 2 murders in the past week of teens by teens. And what is that indicative of? And that was not, Palestinians versus Israelis. That wasn't Arabs. That wasn't, it was Jewish on Jewish. In both cases, the victims were Ethiopian, but I don't know that it was racially motivated because one was just a gang. It was a mob frenzy and horrible story. And it has really rocked the country. So there are a lot of issues that need to be dealt with at the base root level. And this violence against Christians is one that needs to be dealt with very strongly, not just in condemnations, but going back several steps and getting to the source of the problem and starting to begin education about why this is bad. Now, this also comes on the heels of sledgehammering a statue of Jesus in Lebanon. An Israeli soldier did that in a Christian village. And it also comes when there was this big brouhaha with the Latin patriarch the cardinal, Pizzaballa, who was going to the Holy Sepulchre. Police stopped him. It was a big scandalous thing, in the media, but that was resolved. Now, the education issue, though, you can see in the soldier that would do that, an ISIS type act, taking out the cross of Jesus, a crucifix, there's an education lapse going on there. And same with this violence against this nun. So anyway, I have to wrap up tonight. It's Friday night and I'm about to go out. If you are just joining now, go back a little bit and watch the video of what happened to the nun. And I'm definitely off my time for today. Usually I'm 2 hours later, but social life calls. I gotta go. But anyway, thank you so much for joining. And again, if you are in Jerusalem, DM me, join me for a wine tasting tomorrow in the Old City, where now we'll support the local Christian community by tasting their wines and learning more about the industry. It's a very nascent industry, how do you say, a new emerging budding industry, and really needs our support. But really, it's just interesting and fascinating. I mean, I love it. Like, to see how these wines are emerging. So anyway, Emily, thank you for joining. But now I'm going to say goodbye. I know I'm very early today, but I gotta go. You can even catch the sunset, except that my camera is still blurred, and I don't know why. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining. Have a great day or night wherever you are. And ciao for now. I'll catch you